To prove my innocence. 내가 얼마나 완벽한지 보여줄게. 억울해요. 머리 녹화 때문에 이거 못 믿겠으면 이거 다른 책 가져와서 할게요. 보세요, 프레드릭. 내가 얼마나 빠른지. 다른 거 프랙티스 테스트 안 한 거 분명히 있거든. 찾으면 있어. 내가 얼마나 완벽한지 진짜 보이죠. 억울해. 나 억울해. 너무 억울해. 나 정말 너무 억울해. 갑자기 머리가 이렇게 안 들어가지는 거야. 그래서 여기까지만 읽고 이거 뒤에 읽는 걸 생각도 안 하고 여기 다음 문제로 넘어가 버린다? 황당하게 이렇게 다 그러고 이걸 읽어야지. 왜 내가 근데 미쳤나봐. 억울해. 미친다. 내가 억울해. 여기 카메라로 찍으면 항상 정신이 없다니까. 사람이 진짜 카메라로 찍으면서 뭐를 하면 안 돼요. 정신이 없어. 정신. 내가 녹화까지 하려니까 정신이 없다. 제발 안 풀고 있어라. Wait, oh, thank you, Lord. I will make up for it. I will make up for it. I will. If John had not been there to blink when tension began rise at the meeting, the fight surely have been short. 뭔데? Intervene. Elissimo, sue them. The defendant of the testimony of surprise witness or his alibi blank. Exonerate, absorb him. Convoke, synthesize, no, exonerate. Rachel's blank driving is not surprising given that she spent a blank hour each year. Started in traffic delays. Antipathy. Aversion to, insufferable. Ensnared in traffic delays. So she doesn't like it. 다 읽었지. Any medical practice must consider state of the art right now thought to be blank. Physicians were often incredulous. The Bavarians were at once. Primitive instinction. Physicians were often incredulous that such Bavarians were sanctioned. The Prime Minister had vetoed the proposal several times in the past of those who came as a blame surprised the public when he blanked the same law in his most recent speech. Sanctioned. Approved. Done, but let me check once more. Tried everything blanket. More or less harassing during commanded. 정말 다 봤지? 몰랐어. 미리 이니시란 뜻이 돼야 되나? 여기 하나 더 있나? 그럼 이거 한번 읽어볼래? her porn. 나중에 좀 지금 이거부터 빨리 매겨야 돼. 긴 글은 그냥 여기서 아무거나 이따가 찾아서 읽을게. 왜냐면 지금 내가 빨리 이거부터 매겨서 단어부터 중요해. 하는데 내 단어를 못 믿는다. 글은 어제 SAT에서도 풀었는데 단어를 못 믿어. 오, 단어 또 있다. 아니 뭐지? 글은 이따가 읽을게요. 다시 다른 거. 왜냐면 지금 사람들 글을 지금 단어를 못 믿어서 답답해 미치겠다 내 마음에. multivarious. 뭐가 하나 이상하더라. 안 틀린다. 요게 좀 Ladies will be strong as a blank. I because insipid deck with a compromise on New York compensate severe. 말이 안 돼. 정답 보고. 긴 글 읽을게요. 억울하네. 나 진짜 내가 머리에 진짜 갑자기 뭐 이렇게 되니까. 제가 진짜 다 읽으면 돼요. 정말이에요. 진짜 빨리 읽을 수 있어야 돼요. 아무도 내 말 안 읽는데 내 말을 죽어도 안 읽지. CC, BC. 이거 아니거든. D 맞다. 이거 D가 6번에 B. Multiberries. Yeah. Unexpected. Unexpected is a result of the experiment. If used to characterize scenarios around. Definitely for sure. 정말이에요. 들어가서 보세요. 제가 진짜 안 했어요. 정말이에요. 여기 보는 거 다 나와 있어요. 이렇게 뿌옇지 않아. 아니야, 진짜야. 내가 너무 아까 하나 머리가 여기 카메라에 머리가 안 들어가서 모르고 어떻게 됐냐면 거짓말이 진짜 아니고 카메라 머리가 안 올라가서 이렇게 하고 이거 누르고 그 다음에 뭐 여기를 다시 봐야 되는데 그러고 여기를 간 거야. 카메라 하나 너무 난 머리를 괴롭히니까 확인을 한번 했어야 되는데 진짜 안 했어요. 근데 정말이에요. 정말 그거는 뒤에만 읽으면 바로 알 수 있는 거 이런 것도 다 읽을 수 있는데 설마 그걸 못 읽게. 정말 이렇게 보면은 너무 빨리 말도 안 되게 이렇게 하는 거야. 아우 바보 왜 그러니. 이거까지도 맞췄어. Multiberries 타임이. 정말이에요. 진짜 보는 사람 있어요. 저 성격이 너무 좀 급해서 그거 좀 그렇죠. 왜냐면 카메라로 녹화를 하면서 하니까 성격이 더 급해. 계속 내가 녹화를 하니까 사람 마음이 급해 죽겠다. 있니? 역시 제발 있어라. 안 푼 거 있어라. 제발 안 푼 거 있어라. 안 푼 거 있어라. 나 좀 살려줘. 나 좀 증명하게 해줘. 나 진짜 신중하게 볼게. 프레드릭 나 이런 거 같아. Jacques Lugia won the renown of the stories and now has four blank remaining courses, but many simply to enjoy blank is scrumptious. Delectable but scrumptious. Cool. Decades of a political blank have left the region on the brink of war. At the slightest a blank of political classic. Political strife, provocation. Slightest, tiniest, Tinder box. It's in the Tinder box. Slightest agitation. Over the 500 years found among all this has been source of blank among art history and will continue to take expression in many different sources. Much of deliberation, the contemplation, a study to contemplation. Research of each after the other spreads continue to be one of the most blank singer of all time. Each 100,000 revered, respected. 정말 거짓말이 진짜 아닌데. 요거는 왜 이렇게 많아? Professional poker, however, later known as a blank professor because of a blank tactic he used to outthink his opponent. Cerebral tactic. Analytical 한 거. 정말 거짓말인데. Directors of New Building say that it is a blank aesthetically. Furthermore, that far from being financial blank, it's developed a claim that it would be the project had a course setting really dealing in the most revenue. An eyesore aesthetically, and furthermore, far from being financial, boon, atrocities, eyesore. And I mean, far from the last thing they would have done is financial boon. Claim they would be the project was listed dearly in lost revenue. 이거는 eyesore 돼야 돼. 근데 adversary no. Far from means the last thing that you do. 19th century Edgar Allan Poe was acclaimed for his blank inventiveness. Means that they had a natural ability to write his blank table or prototype to smash. Grotesque, inventive, enthralling, mesmerizingly, riveting. DNA evidence taken from the scene of a crime was used to blank the defendant. The genomic fingerprint taken from the was not match. Exculpate, exonerate, and accrete. 잠깐만, 나 이거 하나만 확인해보자. 뭐지? 한 번만 돌아볼게. Left us conscious, smoke was true. Smile on Mona Lisa had been source of blank to liberation. Concurrency. Possibly, even at such a disputable contemplation. 일단 eyesore 같지만 뒤에 말이 아니야. 여기는 맞는데 아니야. It claimed it would be. It's a claim. Financial boon is really the claim by developer as you would be. 이런 뜻이고 이렇게 되는 거고. 정말 억울해요. 단어 센스 진짜 잘 아는 편인데 카메라 찍어서 성격이 급해 죽겠어 지금. Slow down. 안 돼. Hallelujah. The knee-jerk reflex is nearly blank because it produces immediate muscular response without any information. Nearly instantaneous. Really, blink of an eye. Although it started emaciated to three, nevertheless summoned the energy to fight blank before scrub ferociously. Passionate. Impassioned. In an impassioned way. In a feisty. Fiercely. 그냥 배고파. 힘은 별로 없지. Emaciated thin. Had no power, but they fought really hard. Oh, I want to have food. Jennifer blanked them and irritated her peer who hated listening to her superstitions. Belligerent. Superciliously. Pretending and overbearing. Guilty? That is not the word of foolish. others say that overbearing and majestic. The art of sushi master takes years to press. Only after years of a blank will the chef in the training have the blank to create her own or apprenticeship 맞고 autonomy. Marilla's had been called a blank by her editor because her ability to before anyone she later admitted that she had received all the information from previous sources rather than through a blank. You know, when journalists have been called, and she's been prophetic. She's really like an oracular, full of insight, insightful thoughts. So many thought that she had a prescience to see the future prudently and predictably. By her wisdom. But that's not the case. She had a privileged sword channel ahead of time. 이건 약간 이상한데. 내가 overbearing 있단 말이 self-effacing 절대 말이 이게 바로 diffident self-effacing. Just confident 말도 안 돼. reticent 말도 안 돼. belligerent 말도 안 돼. 왜냐면 belligerent은 supercilious 아니에요. belligerent warlike. Lofty, she pretends she's such a mighty. 오케이, 이제 없지? 내가 진짜 이거 전에 사전에 다 봤으면 내 손가락 자른다. 오, 또 있다. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Lord, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. 여기 있다. Blank with the technologies advancing make it difficult for business to stay current. As a result, they often find themselves a blank equipment. Da-da-da. The rapidity, the fastness of the technology is advancing make it difficult. The result, they find themselves outdated, behind the schedule. Yeah, just simply known as say they're behind schedule. Therefore, blank of achieved stories early or which used a clear approach to build inner dimension of the character gave away the blank and arcane style of writing. It's just the character thrown there was Oscar the Teresa. The city of early works clear, gave away to later opaque and arcane. Versus one, right? First clear prose, then later opaque. Critics of versus premise sure completely too often back to the blank, choosing its strategy without much explanation, impulsively. Takes that advert to Simona Kahimi blank was a king who demanded a blank from his courtier, and not hesitate to ask anyone who liked the irreverent. Demanded absolute deference. Subservience. Respect. Absolute respect. insolence, imprudence, turbulence, ignominy. Native Italian, the Galileo was blank was sentenced to life in prison. Being blank. Heretic 돼야 되겠고. Denounced. And heretic. Churchy proposes son rather demagogue. Heretic 맞지? Contrary believer. Absolute. Not for blanket unconsensus. Januar had a hard time securing the votes of a more blank party members during the present. Heretical. The more political members. Contentious and orthodox. Because he, this person is a very controversial. That's really the reason Senator had a hard time securing the votes from more of a orthodox or regular established one. Controversial religious or the traditional. Not. 정답 그대로 볼까? Yeah, I'm actually very much certain about this time. 이제는 없을 거예요. 정말 거짓말 안 해요. 이거부터 8번부터 내. A 맞는데 이번에 A. 정답을 잘못 뽑았네. 다시 볼게. 정답 잘못 봤네. 몇 번이라고? 정답 개인이 2 맞지? 고친 거 아니지? 2 그다음에 B 보이지? B 그다음에 B 그다음에 4번에 D 4번에 D 정말 맞지? 4번에 D 맞나? 다른 펜으로 보여줄까? EBBD E B B D D A 시험 칠게요. 가서 쳐오면 되잖아요. 정말 가서 쳐오면 되잖아요. 정말 개거짓말 아니고 가서 치면 되잖아요. 봐봐, 나 이런 문제도 맞출 수 있어요. Known for her blank and iconoclastic stance, because she's a really person who's been against the establishment, who's been breaking what's been sacred. So she's been a very contentious, controversial person. So that's the real reason she had a hard time getting the traditional, more like established orthodox members of votes. It's easy, right? Denounced and heretic. It's a classic, right? I understand that. It's easy. But I am not different from the rest of people. 그냥 다르지 않아요. B, D, C, A. 정말이에요. 왜 그러세요? ferocious 이런 느낌 알잖아. 왜 그래? 나 너무 억울해, 프레드릭. 도와줘. BDCA. 정말 억울해요. 내가 이거 다 미리 봤으면 내가 진짜 손가락 자른다. 그런 거짓말을 하면은. 정말 이거 보세요. 여기 이거 보세요. Journalists had been called prophetic. Here, she was really thought to be such a person who has a foresight. So everyone praised her preemptive action. Oh, how would you expect that to come out? You must be a genius who might have a crystal ball to penetrate through what would come. Oh, everyone praised your journalistic foresight. But later turned out to be she had a secretive source, prescience, knowing ahead of the time. It's really easy. 왜 그러세요? 이런 거 진짜 다 맞아서 거짓말 진짜 이거 한번 봐. 그리고 이게 정답 볼까? B 여기 적어볼게요. B D B 맞지? 그다음에 D였지 아까 B D. 정말 거짓말 이거 느낌 아니니 이거? although starved, emaciated, although they're very hungry and they're very thin, but those, roaming around ownerless cats, however, they muster up all their power to fight viciously because they've been starving. They wanted to actually get whatever remnants of the food, scraps, the remnants in the trash can, left over in the trash can. I know this much. 정말 나도 알아요. 다른 미국에, I know this is easy. I understand that. But just like the rest of Americans, I know this feeling. 그냥 진짜 너무하잖아요. 쉬운 거 알아요. 정말 알아요. I know this is a really kid joke. I know. Anyone but idiotic and an asshole would have sold this. I know. I swear, Lord. I swear by the simplicity of it. But I'm not really that different from what you think who I am. I mean, I'm not really that different from what most of people are. Yeah, why have I actually said I'm not that different, from what you think who I am? I'm actually really different from what you think I am. I'm not that different from the rest of English-speaking folks. 그리고 이것도 정답 보면은 3번 보면 C, A잖아. C 맞지? 내가 한 거. A, apprenticeship. A 맞지? 정말이에요. 나 너무 억울해. I will go to the test center to take the test. I swear, Lord. There's no cheating. 이거 안 풀었어요 아직. 매겼어. A, D, B, C. A, D, B, C. 그 다음에 E, B, D, B. 응? 하나 더 있는데 C, E, B, D. 자, 정답 다시 여기 적어봐. A, 여기 A다, 그지? A. 이거 A 맞니? A고. 그 다음에 이거 D. D 맞지? 이거 D. 다른 색깔이에요. B. 그 다음에 C. E. Frederick, 정말 어떻게 생각해? 이거 봐. 이거 느낌 아니니? 19th century author Frederick, take a glance at it. Don't you not actually think that this is really about the sentiment? 19th century author Edgar Allan Poe was acclaimed. He was critically praised because of his distorted and somewhat perverted brilliance as a creative author. He had almost like a peerless ability to write down such an spellbinding, captivating, enthralling, riveting, fascinating, breathtaking tales of a cruelty. Cruelty means brutality and torture, sadistic torment. That completely mesmerized means fascinated and enchanted, entranced. What do we actually say that? 이런 거는 enchanted 하죠, enchanted. 아까 전에 여기서 있는 거 enthralling 이런 거는 spellbinding이랑 똑같고, 그리고 이거는 breathtaking. 나 그렇게 느낌 모르지 않아요. 왜 그러세요? DNA evidence taken from the scene of the crime was used to exculpate, exonerate the defendant. He was acquitted. He was actually, removed. He was proven not guilty. Defendant was proven not guilty because DNA sample did not actually match the fingerprint collected from the crime scene. Excuse me? It's easy. The rest of questions are all easy, cheesy, PG pie. I understand that. I know. I'm not special at all. But I'm not really that different, and I'm not really audible like you like to believe, just because of one simple clicking. Let me actually tell you, I will take every little test you want me to take. If you really have a serious doubt about my feeling, please, make the emotional block and select the answer. But let me have it like this. I mean, let me solve it, because I'm actually really marking off. That does not mean I cannot take the test on computer. Because, when you go to the TOEFL test center, you can submit the answer at the final minute. They said, are you sure you're going to submit the answer? There is no way you can go back to previous choices to be corrected. 이런 거 할 때까지 내 답을 내가 마음대로 할 수 있어요. Before you actually submit the submit button, you can completely change. I mean, not really, you can completely change the actual options. It means everything remains in your power. you can go back and forth to pick out the right answer. 근데 진짜예요. 그럼 계속 dictionary.com 문제 풀게요. vocabulary.com. 진심이에요. 약간 급해. 약간 머리 이렇게 넣느라고 이렇게 돼서 하나 틀렸어요. 바보같이 여기만 이렇게 하고 밑으로 내려가서 다른 문제. 아까 어떻게 된 거예요? Let me explain what happened. Let me try to actually tell you this. I was actually I picked out the right answer, which I thought a right answer because I actually read a first portion with one glance. With a single glance, I saw what has been there. I'm not lying. At a quick glance, at a first sight, I saw this portion. I picked up the right answer. I swooped down and I picked up the right answer because of the camera. I had to, have my head lower down. Then I didn't really actually perform the rest of the part. I didn't read the rest of the portion, and I moved on to the next one. After I placed my head down, I naturally and automatically sold the next part. That was really the reason I got one wrong. But I'm not lying. 정말이요. 진짜 이거 뺏겼으면 내가 1,000,000원 줄게. You know what? Let me actually say this. If I ever had any chance to have this previewed or somehow studied ahead of time, I would actually give out my entire fortune. I would even cut my fingers. This is nothing. But it is pretty much close to the actual materials frequently encountered on vocabulary.com websites, right? These are really the materials that are pretty much in the vicinity of the substance that I normally encounter or that I normally stumble upon at vocabulary.com. And I'm not really that crazy. 그냥 완전 그렇게 미치지 않았어요. 완전 그렇게 막 도라이 아니에요. 보세요. 이런 것도 이해할 수 있잖아. I'm not really kind of weirdo who actually really needs to be psychologically processed.